Well, TikTok's in the crapper, but what's new? Today there was a hearing by Congress to determine what to do about TikTok and how they're going to go about, maybe trying to sell TikTok to sell to an American company, or if they're just going to ban the app altogether. There was a hearing with the CEO of Twitch, and I'll show you guys the stream clips of me reacting to the hearing after this introduction, but I just kind of wanted to give a little intro because they never let him answer any questions. He also doesn't answer any questions directly, and they go off on different tangents, these different members of Congress that have been appointed to ask the CEO of Twitch questions. They can't keep their story straight. 1 minute they're addressing data concerns with TikTok, and then the next minute they're saying, well, I saw a mean video I didn't like on the For You page, and you guys didn't take it down. Why? Why is that video still on the app? Not everything can be deleted. Not everything can be banned off of the app. They showed like a video that had 100 likes that was like a messed up video, and use that as an excuse to say that you guys don't moderate your content on TikTok. TikTok is the harshest when it comes to moderation, maybe outside of Instagram and sometimes YouTube, but that's beside the point. You can't just judge a social media app by its content and how it moderates things. And then what is this about? Is this about security concerns, or is this about the children, or is this about the algorithm, or is this about government devices? Let me tell you, watching this live stream of them questioning the CEO of TikTok didn't make me lose hope in TikTok. It made me lose hope in the United States government. I cannot believe that half of these people were elected into Congress. Let me tell you, man, I've switched back and forth into, what political party should I go with? Do I go with the conservatives? Do I go with the liberals? Sometimes the conservatives do something and I'm like, okay, I'm a liberal. I'm reactionary. The conservatives are ticking me off. Then the liberals will tick me off and I'll be like, okay, maybe I should be a freaking conservative because now the liberals are ticking me off. I'm an anarchist now after watching this freaking video. I just want to destroy the whole freaking government because what the heck? All of these people are incompetent from both sides of the aisle. They don't know what the heck they're talking about, and they're all a bunch of puppets and of freaking Facebook and all these apps that want TikTok taken off so they don't have any more competition. All they want to do is ban the app, and they're going to use every excuse under the sun to do so. If you don't believe me, then watch this stream clip.
In the Wall Street Journal, they said today, China.
She can't even say the word China.
China's commerce minister said that China opposes the sale of TikTok because it would involve exporting China's technology and would, and this is the important part, and would need to be approved by the Chinese government. Would need to be approved by the Chinese government. So all of what you've been saying about the distance between TikTok and China has been said to be not true in the paper today, and I would like to see what you have to say in response.
Congresswoman, I do disagree with that characterization. I think we have designed Project Texas to protect U.S. user interests and to move forward here in the U.S. Again, it's the protections of storing American data on American soil by an American company looked after by American personnel. And I do not think that our commitments to this committee and all our users is impacted by
I think they'll sell.
any event.
I think they'll sell and it won't get banned. It's just going to be a painful process.
The whole discussion on this, the resolution of this is an ongoing and developing event. So we will continue to pay attention to this, and we'll get back to you when we have more specifics. So my commitments stand. Yeah.
Okay, so if it's an ongoing debate, apparently with China, so it's hard to say with any certainty that China would not have any influence But let me ask another question.
Okay.
Last fall, along with Gus Bilirakis, who were chair and co-chair of the subcommittee together, were told that TikTok had surveilled, was involved in surveillance of users, very personal information. And you might say, well, not more than other companies, and I agree with Ranking Member Pallone that I really don't want to go by that standard particularly, but that
Why don't you
TikTok's
hold
in-app
Facebook and
browser
Instagram and
surveilled
everybody else to these
everything,
standards?
from Americans, including passwords and credit card numbers, et cetera. So I just want to ask you if TikTok did track and collect this sensitive data that Americans don't want to have disclosed.
Congressman, thank you. I'm glad you asked this question because, like you pointed out, we actually do not believe we collect more data than any other social media company out there. A lot of these reports, and we can talk about which specific one you're talking about, a lot of them are not that accurate. Some of them we have we have actually gotten in touch with the authors to help them understand the data that we're collecting. A lot of it is speculation. You know, this is something they could do. But if you look at the subtext, this is something that every company could do.
I'm running out of time. Let me just say that if TikTok chose not to take this sensitive information that you don't need for a transaction and support our comprehensive privacy bill, that would be very helpful. The other thing I wanted to ask. Really, this is a yes or no. That does TikTok share user information from companies, from parent companies, from affiliated, or send user information to overseas?
In the past, yes, for interoperability purposes. Now, after Project Texas, all protected U.S. data will be stored here with the access controlled by a special team of U.S. personnel. Again, Congresswoman, this is something that, as far as I understand, no other company, including American companies, are willing to go. So maybe this is something that we can ask the industry to provide, not just us, to protect U.S.
In the
user
case of
interests.
sharing information, I do want to quote from employees that you had, and here's the quote. Everything is seen in China, is really what they said. People who were in touch with the sensitive data were saying that. How do you respond to that?
I disagree with that statement.
Well, I know you disagree with that statement, but my point is, how does that happen that employees of the company are saying that in fact
How does an employee statement
I cannot speak
with
to,
no
I
evidence
don't know
hold
who
up in
this person
court?
is, so I cannot speak to what the person
You can't even name them.
has or has not said. What I can say is, you know, based on my position in this company and the responsibility that I have, that statement is just not true.
Okay, unfortunately, and I'll close, I guess I'm over my time. We need to look into the facts of this, and so do you. And I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Chair recognizes the lady from Florida, Ms. Kamek, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Mr. Shou, are you aware of Chinese Communist Party leader Chairman Xi Jinping's comments in May 2021 during a Communist Politburo study session where he instructed colleagues to target different countries,
fat blonde
different
woman with a "Don't tread on me"
audiences with
sticker on the
short-form
back of
video?
her
Are you aware of these comments?
computer.
Yes or no?
Congressman, I'm not aware of these comments.
Okay. Well, and as was pointed out by Chairwoman Rogers, you have regular contact with Chinese Communist Party Secretary, Mr. Zhang Fuping, who is your boss at ByteDance, correct?
No,
No.
no. He's
Interesting.
neither my boss, nor do we have frequent contact.
But you have regular contact with ByteDance,
With the CEO of ByteDance.
who is, Mr. Zhang Fuping is the
He's not.
editor-in-chief.
He's not the
My
CEO.
colleague, Representative Burgess, a few minutes ago exposed that TikTok and ByteDance share legal teams. You confirmed this, correct?
Our general counsel is
Yes.
an
Yes or
American lawyer,
Yes.
veteran of Microsoft.
Also, my
many years.
colleague, Representative Latta,
Let him
confirmed
answer
that
the
your
freaking
parent
question.
company,
Holy
ByteDance,
cow.
currently can access user data. Yes?
We have to be more
Yes.
specific.
Yes.
After
You
Project
say-
Texas, no.
I'm not asking
You
after
can't
Project
ask
Texas,
a
I'm
question
asking
and
now.
then answer it
Yes.
for him.
Some user data is public data, Congresswoman, which
So
means
you
everybody
confirm that.
can search
What's
for it on the
interesting
internet.
to me is that you have used the word transparency over a half a dozen times in your opening testimony and subsequently again in your answers to my colleagues. Yet the interesting thing to me is that ByteDance, your parent company, has gone out of their way to hide an airbrush corporate structure ties to the CCP, the company's founder, and their activities. You can look no further than the fact that ByteDance website has been scrubbed. In fact, we found web pages from the Beijing Internet Association, the industry association
is
charged
freaking
with
ridiculous.
Communist Party building work of internet companies in Beijing. They have been archived but since deleted. Makes you kind of wonder why. Yes or no, ByteDance is required to have a member of the Chinese government on its board with veto power. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. ByteDance owns some Chinese businesses, and you're talking about a very special subsidiary that is
Mr.
for
Shou,
Chinese business
Mr.
licensing.
Shou,
purposes.
I'm going to have to move on. You've said repeatedly that there is no threat, that this is a platform for entertainment and for fun. I have to ask you then, if there is no threat to Americans, if there is no threat to our data, privacy, security, why did an internal memo from TikTok corporate headquarters explicitly coach senior management to, quote, downplay the parent company ByteDance? Why would they say downplay the China Association and downplay AI? This is from an internal memo from your company. Why, if you had nothing to hide, would you need to downplay the association with ByteDance in China?
Congresswoman, I have not seen this memo.
You
What I
can't
can
answer that
say-
question. Mr. Shou, I'd like to direct your attention to the screen for a short video, if you don't mind.
1738.
Wick, thank you for the 15 bits on Twitch.
Mr. Shou, that video was posted 41 days ago. As you can see, it is captioned me as F at the House Energy and Commerce Committee on March 23rd of this year. This video was posted before this hearing was publicly noticed. I think that's a very interesting point to raise. But more concerning is the fact that it names this chairwoman by name. Your own community guidelines state that you have a firm stance against enabling violence on or off TikTok. We do not allow people to use our platform to threaten or incite violence or to promote violent extremist organizations, individuals, or acts. When there is a threat to public safety or an account is used to
Bro, you literally cannot. If we judge TikTok by all of the weird videos on it, of course it's gonna be freaking banned. If they're gonna use that as evidence to ban it, oh my
You
gosh.
are capable of maintaining the data security, privacy, and security of 150 million Americans where you can't even protect the people in this room? I think that is a blatant display of how vulnerable people who use TikTok are. You couldn't take action after 41 days when a clear threat, a very violent threat to the chairwoman of this committee and the members of this committee was posted on your platform. You damn well know that you cannot protect the data and security of this committee or the 150 million users of your app because it is an extension of the CCP. And with that, I yield back.
Can I respond, Chair?
No, we're going to move on. Gentlelady yields back. Chairman recognizes the lady from California, Ms. Matsui, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And I'm really glad that we're having this very important hearing here today. And let me just say, make no mistake, the Chinese government represents a real and immediate threat. Look no further than even the vulnerable gear still in our telecom networks that needs to be ripped and replaced. But we can't lose sight of the important internet governance issues TikTok and other social media companies represent. I'm especially committed to demanding transparency from large platforms about the algorithms that shape our online interactions, especially for teenagers and young users. And that's why I introduced the Algorithmic Justice and Online Platform Transparency Act to bring greater visibility into this ecosystem. My bill would prohibit algorithms that discriminate on the basis of race, age, gender, ability, and other protected characteristics.
Oh gosh, I'm never gonna get famous on TikTok after this. I can't use my white privilege?
Now,
This is terrible.
this bill would require online platforms to publish annual public reports detailing their content moderation practices, which I believe should be a baseline requirement to enable meaningful oversight and consumer choice. Mr. Chu, just yes or no, do you believe a requirement for annual content moderation practices for social media platforms would be beneficial? Yes or no?
Yes.
This transparency bill would also require online platforms to maintain detailed records describing their algorithmic process for review by the Federal Trade Commission in compliance with key privacy and data identification standards. Mr. Chu, does TikTok currently maintain records describing their algorithmic processes? Yes or no?
Congressman, I will need to check and get back to you on what kind of specific records you are talking about.
I wait for that. Over the past few years, alarming information brought to light by whistleblowers have shown that social media companies are intimately aware of the effect their products have on young women, political extremism, and more. Despite this, they withheld those studies or declined to investigate further. In either case, it shows a pattern evasive or negligent
BBC and
behavior
Yahoo's Lives?
that
What?
I find concerning in the extreme. Mr. Chu, does TikTok conduct its own studies on the effect of its algorithms and content distribution models on mental health or safety? And if so, how and when are those findings made public? And if not, do you believe they are necessary?
Congresswoman, we rely on external third parties and fund their research to help us understand some of these issues. For example, we worked with the Digital Wellness Lab at the Boston Children's Hospital to understand the 60-minute time limit that we put for all our under 18 users. And we are supportive of legislation that provides more funding for research, like, for example, for the NIH.
Okay. TikTok tailors its recommended content based on user activity to encourage people to spend more time on the app. While this practice is by no means unique to TikTok, given the prevalence of young users and the digestible nature of short-form video, I'm concerned about the app's tendency to exacerbate existing mental health challenges. Mr. Chu, does TikTok have
Finally, something I agree with.
amplifying content that would be related to depression or dieting versus content like gardening and sports? If yes, describe these policy differences. If no, why not?
Congresswoman, thank you for that. This is a great question.
Everybody that
The answer
uses
is
TikTok
yes. We are trying
diagnoses
out
themselves
some,
with depression.
Policies together with experts to understand certain contents that are not inherently harmful, like extreme fitness, for example, but shouldn't be seen too much. And these are models that we're building, and we are trying to understand, together with experts, how to best implement them across our platform, particularly for younger users,
Okay,
under
so
18. Yeah.
in cases where users have been engaging with potentially harmful content, I believe it's imperative that the app takes steps to moderate that behavior rather than continuing to promote it. I mean, in a sense, be
I
very
apologize.
intentional about that.
I wasn't clear. First, anything that is violative and harmful, we remove. What I meant to say were content that is not inherently harmful. Like some of the extreme fitness videos about people running 100 miles. It's not inherently harmful, but if we show them too much, the experts are telling us that we should disperse them more and make sure that they're not seen too regularly,
So
especially by younger
you're very
users.
intentional about that then? It's something that you'll
We are working on it,
moderate.
yes. Yeah.
You're working on it?
Yes.
Okay. I yield back.
Gentle lady yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Bill Rockus, for five
Uh-oh, we got a
minutes.
Florida guy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for holding this hearing. Mr. Chu, your algorithms have prioritized providing harmful content directly to children, like self-harm challenges and even suicide. Just 3 days ago, Italy opened an investigation into the TikTok over user safety concerns after the so-called French scar challenge went viral on your platform. I know you know about the blackout challenge, which others may know as the choking challenge that encourages children to bring them to the point of unconsciousness.
That's
or in
been a
some cases,
challenge.
tragically.
That's been a
Yeah.
challenge since forever.
If that isn't enough, I want to share the story
We did
of
that in freaking
Chase
high school.
Nasca, a
middle school.
16-year-old boy from New York who tragically ended his life a year ago by stepping in front of a train. I want to thank his parents. Again, they are here. I want to thank his parents for being here today and allowing us to show this. Mr. Chu, your company destroyed their lives. Your company destroyed their lives. I admire their courage to be here and share Chase's story in the hopes that
I
it will
ended the
prevent
live because I
this
started
from
talking about
happening
suicide.
to other
It
families.
was asking to get banned.
The content in Chase's For You page was not a window to discovery, as you boldly claimed in your testimony.
I
It
ended the
wasn't
TikTok live
content
because it was asking
from
to
a
be
creator
banned.
that you invited to roam the hill today, or STEM education content that children in China see. Instead, his For You page was sadly a window to discover suicide. It is unacceptable, sir, that even after knowing all these dangers, you still claim TikTok is something grand to behold. I want you to see what Chase would see. And I think if you want, again, would you share this content with your children, with your 2 children? Would you want them to see this? And again, I want to warn everyone watching that you may find this content disturbing, but we need to watch this, please.
Judging the app by its content is
Narrative.
tough.
You gotta kill yourself.
Oh, word?
Poggers, dude!
Right now?
I'm gonna put a shotgun in my mouth and blow the brains out of the back of my head.
Thanks for pumping out the great content, Daddy.
Thank you for the 1,000 bits, Reed. Holy cow. Dude, these are
This
just...
is a cute story. My brother, who is addicted to painkillers, blew his head off on the State Street Bridge. Bam! Now hold on, it gets better. No letter, no goodbye, nothing.
Got a question. If I died, would you miss me?
Mr.
They're
Chu,
using sad
Mr.
TikToks
Chu,
to...
please. Your technology is literally leading to death. Mr. Chu, yes or no? Do you have full responsibility for your algorithms used by TikTok to prioritize content to its users? Yes or no, please?
Congressman, I'll just like to, if respectfully, if you don't mind, I would just like to start by saying it's devastating to hear about the news of,
Yes,
as a father
yes.
myself, this is
Sir,
tragic.
yes or no? I'll repeat the question. Do you have full responsibility over the algorithms used by TikTok to
Algorithms.
prioritize content to its users? Yes or no, please?
Congressman, we do take these issues very seriously,
Yes or no?
and we do provide resources for anyone who types in anything that
Sir,
is suicide
yes or
related.
no? I see you're not willing to answer the question or take any responsibility for your parents' companies, the technology, and the harms it creates. It's just very, very sad, very sad.
It's very sad.
This is why Congress needs to enact a comprehensive privacy and data security law to give Americans more control over their information and to protect our children.
How
We
does
must
that
save our
protect children?
from big tech companies like yours who continue to abuse and manipulate them for your own gain. And I'll yield back, Madam Chair.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes the lady from Florida, Ms. Castor, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, it is urgent that the Congress pass an online data privacy law that protects
They are trying to ban
the personal
TikTok, Reed.
privacy of Americans online, and particularly our kids. While this hearing shines a light on TikTok, this hearing also should serve as a call to action for the Congress to act now to protect Americans from surveillance, tracking, personal data gathering, and addictive algorithmic operations that serve up harmful content and has a corrosive effect on our kids' mental and physical well-being. For many years, I've sounded the alarm in this committee of how big tech platforms like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram incessantly surveil, track, gather personal private information, and use it along with data brokers to target and influence our behavior. This is a much broader issue than TikTok in China. There are other malign actors across the world who gather data to use it as an element of social control and influence peddling and worse. And as I detailed in this committee last year when we passed our online privacy law, the harms to children are very serious and demand swift action. Big tech platforms profit immensely from keeping children addicted. They do not care about the privacy, safety, and health of their kids.
Dude!
They are the modern-day tobacco and cigarette.
Do you think it will
companies
actually be
that,
banned, though?
For so long resisted
no, I don't.
and misled
It
Congress.
could,
and it
but
took
I don't
the
think it will.
Congress
I think they'll sell
It
to
took
an
the
American
action by the
company
Congress
before they ban
to
it.
actually protect our kids and to outlaw smoking by young people. In early 2020,
It just
based
it
upon
makes
the growing
no
body
it
of
makes zero
evidence
fiscal sense for
to harm,
TikTok to let it
to
be
kids
banned.
online, I introduced the Kids Privacy Act and the Kids Act. And I want to thank all of the researchers, the young people, the parents, the Surgeon General of the United States who have explained the correlation between social media usage and body dissatisfaction, disordered eating habits, anxiety, depression, self-injury, suicide ideation, and cyberbullying. Heck, Frances Haugen, the Facebook whistleblower, was right here and testified to us that Facebook and Instagram conducted research on this topic. They knew and understood the harms, but they continued to elevate profits over the well-being of children. And TikTok does the same. Last Congress, when we passed the ADPPA, the committee incorporated many of these important child online privacy and safety provisions from my bills, but we can make the 118th Congress's version of this bill, of this new law, even more protective of children, and I look forward to working with the chair and the ranking member to make that happen. Mr. Chu, TikTok has incredible sway over children in the U.S., but you don't have a very good track record. In 2019, TikTok was hit with the largest civil penalty by the Federal Trade Commission in a children's privacy case. 4 years later, TikTok still has not taken sufficient action to fix the problems. I assume because child users are incredibly profitable to your bottom line. So answer me this. TikTok allows advertisers to specifically target advertising to children aged 13 to 17, correct?
Congresswoman, I do want to disagree
Yes
with
or
the
no?
statement that child
Yes.
abuses are not allowed on our
Just
platform
yes
at all.
or
It's
no?
deplorable
Do you
conduct
do you
and it's not
target-
allowed on our
do you
platform.
target advertising to
Poggers, dude! 17
We do serve personalized advertising at this point.
Reed, thank you for the sub,
Policies are
brother.
very
money,
safe for
Appreciate
how
that.
much money does TikTok make selling ads targeted to minors?
Congressman, can you
minors.
clarify minors in what age?
From just say age 13 to 17.
For the teenage population, I want to clarify that we do have a under 13 experience and zero advertising on that platform. For those,
Well, that's a whole other topic.
Between 13 and 17, if you don't mind, I'll check into my team and get back to you on those answers.
You know, TikTok could be designed to minimize the harm to kids, but a decision was made to aggressively addict kids in the name of profits. And it's our responsibility, members, to act swiftly to address this. This has gone on for too long. We've dilly-dallied.
He's taking an L on
too
this
much.
one, I'm not
This
gonna
committee,
lie.
thankfully, we've taken responsibility and acted, but we have an enormous responsibility to act swiftly and get this bill to the floor of the House and passed into law as soon as possible. Thank you. I yield back my time.
Gentlelady yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Johnson, for 5 minutes.
Down in Ohio!
Mr. Chu, I'm an information technology professional, been doing it for the most of my life. You've been evasive in many of your answers. I'm going to talk to you in some language that maybe you'll better understand, ones and zeros, okay? Let's talk about the Citizen Lab report. This is something your team frequently mentions in hearings as a way to exonerate yourself. For example, in the limitations section, it reads, we could not examine every source code component and test in the apps in every circumstance, which means our methods could not find every security issue, privacy violation, and censorship event. So it's an incomplete assessment. The report notes that TikTok's data collection
I'm gonna go get
using
myself some
third-party
coffee. Hold on.
trackers was in apparent conflict with the GDPR and that multiple themes were censored by TikTok. What is shocking to me is the shared source code between TikTok in the United States and the CCP-censored Douyin. The Citizen Labs report says that many of the functions and classes were identical and that the differences in behavior between TikTok in the United States and Douyin in China are slight changes in hard-coded values. Incredibly, specific censorship parameters from Douyin are present in TikTok, but just turned off. The authors say that for unknown reasons, the parameter variable itself is preserved. So while Citizen Lab may have been afraid to say the obvious conclusion, Mr. Chu, I am not. TikTok's source code is riddled with backdoors and CCP censorship devices.
All right.
Here's the truth.
Did I miss
In a
anything?
million lines of code, the smallest shift from a 0 to a 1 on just one of thousands of versions of TikTok on the market will unlock explicit CCP censorship and access to American data. Mr. Chu, as CEO of TikTok, why have you not directed your engineers to change this source code?
Congressman, thank you for the question.
Have you directed them to change the source code?
Like what we are offering and
Yes
my
or
fourth
no?
commitment?
Have you directed them to change that source code?
Congressman, if you give me a bit of time to just
No,
explain.
I don't. It's a yes or no question. Have you directed your engineers to change that source code?
I'm not sure I understand.
Why are you allowing TikTok to continue to have the capacity for censorship, and yet you claim here that you don't? Let me remind
doesn't.
you of something. Do you realize that making false and misleading statements to Congress is a federal crime?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So have you directed your engineers to change that source code?
I am giving third-party access monitoring by experts. And Congressman, you are an expert on this. You could agree with me that no other company
TikTok
does
source
this.
code is the same as Douyin? What percentage?
I can get back to you on the specifics.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. Where was the source code for TikTok developed? Was it developed in China or in the United States?
It's a global collaborative effort, like a lot of
Was it
code for a
developed
lot of
in,
companies.
was it developed in China? Some of it?
Some of it is.
Okay, at ByteDance. When it's compiled in the compilation process, can bytecode be manipulated? We've talked a lot about source code. What about the bytecode, the ones and zeros that actually execute on the device? Can
to
it
give
be
you comfort,
manipulated? Yes.
Congressman, to give you comfort, that's why we're giving third-party monitors.
Yes,
As an expert, I think you can agree that very few companies
I've got
offer
the
to do this.
report here by Citizen Lab. I want to read you something from Ron Deibert.
Oh my gosh.
Specifically, in your written testimony to Congress, you stated on page 9, Citizen Lab found that there was no overt data transmission by TikTok to the Chinese government and that TikTok did not contact any servers within China. You implied that Citizen Lab exonerated TikTok from any information sharing with China. Well, the director of Citizen Lab saw this and issued a statement correcting the record yesterday. And I'm quoting Ron Diebert, the director of the lab. I am disappointed that TikTok executives continue citing the Citizen Lab's research in their statements to government as somehow exculpatory. I've called them out on this in the past, and it's unfortunate that I have to do it again, unquote. He goes on to say, and I quote, we even speculated about possible mechanisms through which the Chinese government might use unconventional techniques to obtain TikTok user data via pressure on ByteDance, end of quote. Mr. Chu, you sent Congress written testimony citing this lab as a support of your claim that China cannot access user data, U.S. user data. And now this lab has come out to say, we never said that. That's misleading, Mr. Chu. I hope you understand what that is. That's misleading. Mr. Chu, this is yet another instance of TikTok attempting to mislead Americans about what their technology is capable of and who has access to their information. Madam Chair, I'd like to
Madam Chair, I would
enter
like
the
to respond to
statement
that
by
very
Ron
quickly,
Diebert
please.
and the Citizens Lab into the record.
Without objection.
With
so
that, I
ordered.
yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair yields to the gentleman from Maryland. Mr. Sarbanes, 5 minutes.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. Mr. Chu, I'm going to pick up on a theme we've already covered here, which is the effect that your platform, along with many other social media platforms, by the way, has in terms of mental and behavioral health in this country. I won't speak to what's happening elsewhere in the world, but we've talked about the impact that it's having on children, on teens. We took some action last year in this committee to try to improve access to resources. We authorized critical programs to address mental health needs, but we need to do even more than that. And we got to address with the big tech companies like TikTok.
At the end of the day, they're all going to be talking in circles. They're never going to let him talk, and then he's not going to answer questions, and then they're going to answer the questions for him, and then, you know, it's just a bunch of hoopla at the end of the day. They're either going to sell and not get banned, or they're going to not sell and get banned. Okay, there's only two outcomes that are going to come out of this situation because, you know, they're targeting TikTok out of every social media that's, even though all of them sell your data and use your data, including Twitch, which I'm using right now to stream this. But whatever. Anyways, I got to go work out. I got to do stuff. So it was a short live, but I am going to head out. So thanks for watching, y'all. And, yeah, this is all a bunch of crap. But hopefully with this little 40-minute watching of the hearing, hopefully you didn't lose too many brain cells and you realize how freaking inefficient our government is. Peace out.